Hello, welcome to Property Space again, Charles.
Welcome
back to Malaysia, Charles. This is your third trip, I suppose, to KL.
Third, fourth, yes.
Fourth trip, say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are very delighted to have Charles today with us today, and this episode is going to be very, very, very interesting. We would like to hear your views or your forecasts on the upcoming UK selection, which will take place on the 4th of July, which is pretty soon, basically.
Very exciting.
And it's literally like 2 weeks from now. And how it may impact the UK housing market and international buyers. So before we dive into the questions, perhaps you can give the audience a bit more introduction about yourself and your professional background.
Yes, of course. Well, hello. Good to be back in Malaysia again. Thank you for having me. So my name is Charles Clanaris. I'm a regional sales manager for St. George of the Barclay Group. This is my 9th year working for the company.
Very long.
9th year.
9th year.
A long time. It's
well,
good.
Celebration. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I cover all of our developments, both domestically and internationally, from central London to sort of outskirts of London, from sort of high-end developments in Chelsea to exciting regeneration developments in the sort of zones 3 and 4 of London. So a little bit of everything.
Very, very expert in the line. So then we can totally pick your brain in terms of knowing your views and the opinions on the elections.
I'm here.
So let's crack on. Drum roll. I don't have the drum roll, but we're going to put the drum roll effect and address the elephant in the room. Yes, we do have a lot of Malaysian investors and clients who are feeling a tad nervous about the upcoming elections. So what are your personal views and forecasts on this election, especially in relation to the UK housing market?
Of course. Well, as I said, it is a very exciting time. Any election coming up is very exciting. 4th of July, 2 weeks away. Now, I mean, in the UK, I follow it very closely, the elections. Obviously, it's very important to all of us. In the UK, it's always, for the past sort of 10, 14, 20 years, it's been kind of a two-party politics.
Correct.
Where it has predominantly been the Conservatives and the Labour Party, with Lib Dems, etc., Green Party sort of slightly on the side. I think this time around, things have changed a little bit. I think we're looking at Labour being sort of the front runners of the
Is this the first
elections.
time in the past 20 years?
Well, the Conservatives have been in for the best part of 14 years. So we've been under Tory rule for that long. And, you know, we've had gains out of it. We've had some hurdles over the 14 years as well. So I think we're at a time now where the British public as a whole would like a little bit of change, just to see what else there is out there. You know, we've had... It's a little unfair for I'm completely politically neutral, by the way, just to say, but it's been a tricky 14 years for the Conservatives, but still, it's about time where I think the general public are just seeing what else there is out there.
Correct.
So
the general sentiment in the UK right now is where people, I believe all British talk about politics.
Of course.
They talk about politics during breakfast, lunch,
Constantly,
and dinner.
yeah.
Constantly. So the general sentiment right now is, I don't know, like what you say, they are more leaning towards the Labour. I do have got a few clients coming up to me and say, the Tory is going to win again. How do you see that would impact the housing market in general?
Of course. I mean, we're in a situation in the UK where we need to build more homes. That just goes without saying, regardless of which party are leading, are running the government. Even as part of Labour's manifestos, they're admitting that we need to build more, which is a promising prospect for us as developers. Because you know, over the past, let's say, 5 to 10 years, the biggest challenge for us as a developer has been planning permissions, getting planning permissions granted and over the line.
It's a very lengthy process.
It's a very lengthy process. And fortunately, as part of Labour's manifesto and what they're telling us they're going to bring into, if voted in, is faster planning proposals being admitted, which to us is wonderful, which also to a potential investor is great because it means that we're guaranteed going to be delivering more homes. And they've got more opportunity to buy such wonderful investment opportunities. So I think in terms of the housing market, we have a clear issue where we're not building enough homes for the demand. So if we have Labour come in, or if we have Conservatives, because even if they win, they've admitted we need a faster planning approvals coming into place. So I think we're in a position where we can only benefit from it, from the outcome, whoever's in.
Either way.
Absolutely.
What would be your advice for the investors? Do you think they should just sit on the fence, or they would just have to crack it on without waiting for the election?
I would never advise anyone to sit on the fence.
Because good thing we never wait.
We should never wait. One should never wait. Because, well, firstly, you don't know what's around the corner and what's coming. In the market we have currently right now, it's an investor's dream. And I'm sure we'll touch on that later on while we're talking. But never sit on the fence.
Good sharing, good sharing. My next question is, we have the election in the backdrop right now. What kind of features or characteristics do you think a property should have as a safe investment today?
Bricks and mortar in London. There's no better investment. There's no safer investment. Safe is the optimum word there. Obviously, people can go into different types of investments and get possibly higher, quicker yields but it's less secure. It's less constant growth. You know yourself better than I do, as well as I do. Right. That the bricks and mortar in London is always on a constant rise. And it might not be that sort of roller coaster injection of profit from an investor's point of view there and then, or within 6 months or a year. But gradually over time, especially with the UK rental market, it's very safe, constant.
I think investors should always identify what kind of UK property market is. I think they will always compare with areas or markets with high yields like Vietnam or Myanmar. They always have like 9-10% sort of yields, but while looking at such a great number in terms of yields, that also equates to high risk. So I think what we need to educate the investors nowadays is that what sort of safe instrument you need when it comes to such a peculiar market right now. And for that, we usually will see that what UK developers will offer is safe is one, okay, that's number one. Number two, what kind of projects, what kind of developments would carry such a safe features? And then for that, I think you will have to answer yourself, like a regeneration scheme or a boutique development, a standalone building. What is your view like? What kind of benefits they can offer in terms of different property type?
I think we're at a stage in London in particular where these sort of Zone 3, 4 brownfield regeneration projects that we are delivering and people are investing in, they're the ones that are showing the longest term capital growth. It's the strongest investment in the regeneration of an area, the building of a new community that wasn't there before. In certain areas in zones 3 and 4 in particular, where you've got all of this brownfield land, this ex-industrial land that we obviously rejuvenate, regenerate, and sort of redeliver these new communities, and that's where we place them strategically on Crossrail, for example, somewhere like that. Yes, where certain people in central London wouldn't understand that these zones 3, zone 4 developments are such quick access into central London. I do have a lot of investors coming up. You know, they call up to me and say, Shelvin, I just want zone 1. Yeah. And then obviously they have not explored areas in zone 2 all the way beyond. They always think that putting the money in the prime market would be the safest sort of, they can guarantee the returns, they can guarantee the exit strategy, but they kind of overlooked the potential coming out from zone 2 or beyond, like brownfield developments, like what you say. So do you have that kind of investors coming up to you and just insist on prime area? Constantly for many a year.
And would they ask for like 6-7% sort of yields?
So yeah, you and as you just quite rightly put, you get the people that just want to buy and live in zones 1 and 2. Because that's what they know. It's nearer the shopping, it's nearer this, that, and the other, the lifestyle, etc. And they can buy these homes to live in, which is a lot of people do, and it's a nice way of life, etc. In terms of investment potential, the rental yield you're getting from these, from investors' point of view, the rental yield you're getting from these external zones 3 and 4 developments versus your zones 1 and 2 Chelsea's, Knightsbridge, Belgravia, all the fancy places that people talk about, you're not going to get as strong a yield there. You'll get a 3.5% to 4% yield.
So it's safe to say that the people who buy into that kind of trophy collection would be more for wealth preservation and portfolio building.
Potentially, yeah.
And not quite really for rental.
Absolutely,
sort of.
absolutely.
If you all watch Netflix Buying London, you will see that there's a lot. It's all ridiculous episodes on buying or selling in prime, super prime, ultra prime locations. They were like all asking about 20-odd million in Mayfair,
a lot of money.
Chelsea, and you're asking for like 5-6% rent to you. I think that's not quite the market that we are looking at. It's more for people who just want to establish a sizable portfolio in the UK. So don't fixate yourself into prime areas just in Zone 1. You can go all the way up to 3 or 4. There's a lot of really good brownfield developments with a lot of potential in terms of future developments for future houses, future schools, infrastructures program, and anywhere that is close to a train station that helps you to commute back and forth into prime central London within 45 minutes. They are great investments. That's my point of view. Okay, let's jump on to the next questions. The housing crisis. Okay, let's tap on the housing crisis. It's not a bad word, but it's an opportunity for investors.
We don't like the word crisis.
Yes. I mean, it might be a bad negative terminology for the British, but for investor like us, we always tap on the opportunity, the gap between the housing supply and demand. So the housing crisis in London also continues to present opportunities for landlords, especially, to enjoy a healthy rental yield with growth year on year. So from all the experience we had recently, it does seem unlikely that this demand will go down anytime soon.
I just think we are. I mean, we discussed it at length often. We're at a situation where unemployment's only at 4.4% in London, which means we've got a lot of people that are on very good wages. They're earning very good money, and they're able to live that lifestyle that they want to live in London, but they can't quite. In living that lifestyle, it means they can't quite save a deposit to buy a home. So you've got all the sort of the Londoners on good money, but unable to actually save because they want to live that lifestyle.
Yes.
And therefore, we're in a situation, which is why the rental market is where it is as well, where they can afford high rents, but can't necessarily afford to buy. An investor's dream.
I think the average age for a British to own their first home is 38.
Average, yeah.
Yeah, average 38 to 39. Oof.
And that's across the UK. That's not even
just
it's
London.
Across
the UK, yeah. London should be above.
Slightly above.
Slightly
in
above.
London, yeah.
Okay.
Price-wise,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, from investors' point of view, it's an absolute dream, and it's not going away anywhere. It's a constant. Wages continually to rise with inflation, etc., which means that that rentals will.
The good news is that the pay rise in London specifically has already outpaced inflation. But good news is that the inflation has come down on track.
Good news, yes.
Yeah, on the target inflation rate at 2%. So we shall see the reductions in interest rates soon.
Wages
Finger
up,
crossed.
rates down.
Finger crossed.
That's what we like.
Yeah, and then I should also address that in terms of income levels, London ranked as the 5th wealthiest city in the world, and housing is basically a life necessity. So everyone needs a roof above their head. So what we can essentially outline to you guys is that the gap keeps widening in terms of supply and demand. Would you know the rough figures of the shortfall in London right now in terms of housing shortage?
In terms of how
many units are in the shortage per annum?
Oh God, it's something around the 20% mark.
That's a lot.
We need to build more.
Yes, exactly. And how many more years do you guys think that you could potentially meet the demand?
Catch up with it.
Correct.
I mean, in terms of the land bank that we're buying, in terms of the planning permissions and proposals that we're putting in, we're trying our best to catch up with it. We're doing everything we can, and being that brownfield developer, there's lots of brownfield around. All we need is those planning permissions to come into force. And, us being with our track record, being a FTSE 100 company, we have the ability to build once and get started as soon as that planning permission comes in. Yeah.
And I heard that I have also had conversation with other developers and some people who works in the land registry as well, they have mentioned that it's not going to be a 5-year, 10-year sort of target to meet the demand. It's going to be 50 years.
You've got to be realistic about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
very, very, very difficult because the gap keeps widening and it's a compound rate situation. So, yes, we still have 50 years to make money for investors like us.
And then some.
Yes, exactly. So, next question is,
Yes.
we're going to tap onto your professional background with Barclay. So, you have been with Barclay Group for quite a while, for 9 years, and we know that Barclay has a significant portfolio of developments all throughout different parts of London. Can you share with us if there is a development that comes into your mind that fits all the features of a safe investment?
Just the one.
You only can pick one.
We have a number.
I know.
There's one in particular that is, I just think is the best investors option. It's a development in West London called the Green Quarter. It is an enormous site. We have permission to build 3,500 homes there, and then subject to the next planning permissions come in, there'll be another sort of 5,000-6,000. So all in all, 9,500 homes in West London that we'll be building there. We're already in a position right now where we've delivered a good sort of 500-600 homes there. People are living, people are working there. The development has a heartbeat. You know,
Yeah,
it's actually.
I've been there twice. I love it. I mean, the first time when I was in Green Quarter, it was just construction, but I could already foresee what's coming up.
Yeah.
I had a lot of excitement for it, and then
It's got so much to offer. I mean, you're on the Crossrail.
correct.
So you're in central London in 15 minutes. You're Ealing Broadway in about 4 minutes. But then it's not just about Canary Wharf in about 24, 25 minutes, from walk to the station and then into there. And that's from a Zone 4 development in West London.
Actually, it's
all the way over to
magical.
the east in under half an hour.
Exactly.
But then it's not just about going into London, it's about coming away from London. You know, you're from this development, you're 10 minutes to Heathrow Airport, for example. And then some, out to Reading, out to the beautiful countryside of that England has to offer. You're sort of, because you're in Zone 4, you've got the best of both worlds going in and out of London. And as a development, it's just more and more year on year, there's so much more that it's delivering in terms of the actual facilities there. We've just unveiled and opened up 3 paddle tennis courts.
Oh yes, I saw
Fastest growing
the
sport
footages.
in the world, actually.
Yeah.
Very
it's
exciting.
It's very trending right
it's
now.
It's very trendy,
Yeah. Everyone talks about paddle balls.
Yeah.
And how would you see that? How would it perform for the next 10 years as a safe investment?
Of course. I mean, it's constantly growing. So since first completions 3-4 years ago, we've seen growth of 5%. We've seen Ealing as a whole, the borough of Ealing, you know, it's got about a 3 to 4% growth. But then Southall and the West London area around where the Green Quarter is, we've seen 15% growth in the past 2 years.
Wow.
Which that alone is enormous. You know, from when we were selling this first phase, we were estimating one beds to receive around sort of £1,500 per month in rental.
Yep.
They're now delivering up to 1,900.
Yes.
We saw.
I've been through that with
2
my
beds.
client.
Have you?
Crazy. Yes.
It's huge, isn't it? And
It's
it really shows exactly what's happening. 2 beds alone, we were predicting 1,700-1,800.
Yeah.
They're now receiving 2,200, 2,300 per month.
Exactly. I do have 2 very successful stories from Green Quarter. That's not me promoting, but I'm really excited to share what happens to my clients. I've got my best friend who got money into the first phase. It was a studio, a Manhattan suite. And it was with a very good price. Obviously, it's early bird discount and price entry. Then completion was 2021. Was
That'd
it
be about right? Yeah.
About there?
Yep.
And at the point in time, because it being the first phase, and we just got out from lockdown, literally. So it took roughly about 3 weeks to get a tenant, and that's fine. That compares with Malaysia. That's considered very fast. Then at the point in time, because the area was still fairly new, I mean, there were lots of progression going on, but I think people just needed time to get used to such a good locations and beautiful homes. But we still can get roughly about £900 per month for a studio. Then it just went on, fast forward, and guess what? She has got the third tenant in, and 1005.
There we go.
There we go. From 2021, I remember that being sort of a July, August time, and now we are sort of 3 years from now. From 900 to 1005, that's a huge rental hike.
And growing.
Exactly. And people just, in terms of the unit vacancy, I don't see any void period at all. Like, for example, when the third tenant, before the third tenant move in, the void period was just merely 24 hours. And then when the second tenants move out, and the very next day, the third tenants move in.
We barely have time to clean.
Exactly.
Yes,
I mean, the deep clean only took roughly 2 hours, but the tenant was like, quick, I'm going to bring my luggage in already. And then that's for the studio. And then I have another group of buyer. He bought ready stock. It was completed last year in January. Then I connected him to our letting partner in the UK, and we were just chit-chatting on the Zoom call. And my client being Malaysian, he would be like a bit skeptical. He'll know what's going to happen in the UK market. Would it take 6 months to get tenants? And then my letting partner was like, 6 months? That's not possible. I mean, I'm going to want the tenants within a week.
Yeah.
I mean, a week it could sound quite bullish already at that point in time, because that was January and, winter time. And it's not quite the season.
That's not the that's
exactly.
That's the quietest
That's
season.
the quietest month in terms of rental demand, and we're just talking on Monday. I remember it was a Monday, and on Wednesday my letting partner got a tenant.
There you go.
Here we go. So my client was like, "What?" And he put a capital block letter, "What?" in the group chat. I was like, there we go, Mr. Jerry, you got it. I mean, 1 week it's realistic.
It's incredible.
But that's the power of Green Quarter, because we have such a nice walking distance towards the station, and the station is not a regular train station. It's actually a crossrail. It's Elizabeth Line that connects you to all parts of London, half the journey time as when you take the regular tube services. So that is the magic of it. And then we have such great supports from business parks in the surrounding areas like Stockley Park. We have one of the biggest employment hub from Heathrow, just literally next to it. It's about 10 minutes away on Crossrail.
About 16,500 people working there.
Exactly. So the opportunity is huge, and we do have a good elements of IT and tech workers who are basically working around 30 to 45 minutes commute time from Green Quarter. So that is sort of the tenants profile that I have explored from the Green Quarter. Oh, that's me really promoting now. Sorry.
Thank you.
I can't help it.
No, you've done my job for me. It's wonderful.
Exactly. I'm the top sales.
Excellent.
Yeah. So let's. So next question.
Yes.
Let me see. And we will be. Actually, yes. I'm actually popping over to London in early July, and I'm just gonna make a trip over to see the latest progressions on site at Green Quarter. So a little bit of a commercial time. We are basically doing a quick, a very comprehensive sales event on Green Quarter this weekend. But you probably missed it. Don't worry. You can always drop us a DM after you watch this episode. Then we can show you all the beauty of the Green Quarter as we meet. Okay. So of course, when I pop into London, I'm going to say hi to Charles,
Yes,
and then we're just going to
indeed.
have really good Indian food.
That's going to be
They have
beautiful.
the best Indian food over there, trust me. So we are going to be in One World Hotel this weekend. But again, give us a call, drop us a DM if you want to have a look on a separate basis. So thank you so much, Charles.
My pleasure.
Very insightful sharing, especially on the elections, especially when you address on the housing crisis, and also the Green Quarter as the best regeneration scheme. So all the best for this weekend for all of us.
Thank you very much.
And also all the best for the upcoming election.
I can't wait. Very excited. We'll discuss it when you come to London.
Exactly. And
Excellent.
I hope the party you're rooting for wins.
Oh, I'm completely neutral. So
completely neutral. No
Absolutely.
problem. I'm completely neutral as well. Not that I know
Excellent.
much about it, but I just want to sell more houses in the UK.
Exactly.
So adios. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.